Hi guys, week 8. Here we are. Can't believe it's 2 months already. All right, so first order of business. You remember this thing from the unboxing last week that I didn't know what it was? Well, a bunch of people did, and apparently it's a seatbelt cover. So thank you to those of you who actually knew what this was. So it's a little cushiony seatbelt cover, I guess, for like after the surgery to have more comfort, so that the seatbelt isn't pressing right on your boob. I kind of wanted to do this. I have a whole bunch of stuff to share, just little stories and stuff. So this week I had on Wednesday, I went for the Magseed. I'm calling it an implant. I guess that's what it is. The Magseed implant. And that's really just a little like grain of rice size doodad that they put in the area where the cancer is, where the lump is, so that when the surgeon goes in, there's apparently a magnetic device that she uses that scans, and it zeroes her right into that specific area. So it just makes for a much more easy surgery to go in and find it. And I'm going to try to put a picture either in the comments or insert into the video somehow if I can, of what it looks like, because they do an MRI after it's over, and it shows you it shows you where the little seed is, but it also shows, if you remember, the titanium clip that I had implanted when I first got the biopsy. So now I'm starting like a little collection of tiny little metal doodads inside my boob. One friend asked if we get to keep those, or if we get to keep the lump afterwards. I don't know that we do. I don't know. But yeah, so that was Wednesday, and then yesterday, Thursday, I went for my pre-surgical screening. But what I just wanted to share kind of the experience of the Magseed, right? So I went to this facility. My whole process is really through my doctor, is through it's called the Northwell Health Group that's on Long Island. Lots of offices, lots of facilities, lots of doctors all across. It's one of the biggest ones on Long Island, so it's through that. So I went for the Magseed to one of their locations, and one of their like imaging locations. So they do mammograms and sonos and things like that. The specific one was geared towards women. Now I've been to lots of scans and MRIs and whatever through adulthood, and usually I go to this place called Zwanger-Pesiri. That again is a pretty big place across Long Island, and every time you go there, they give you a bag to put all your clothes in that you can carry around while you're doing your different scans and stuff. And they are possibly one of the best oiled machines everywhere. My friends and I joke that they really need to patent whatever mechanism they use to organize and to set up and to coordinate all of the different scans. I've gone in there for 3 different scans at one point. One on my foot. I got an X-ray on my foot. I got a sonogram, and I got a mammogram, all in the same appointment. And they plan it in such an efficient way that you go in and each person calls you, and then as soon as you're done with one scan, the next tech calls you in for the next scan, and then the next scan. I don't think I've ever spent any longer than, a half hour, 45 minutes there. And that's including the time of the scans. But so they're extremely efficient and really very well run, and you get a tote bag every time. So I'm starting quite the nice little collection of Zwanger-Pesiri tote bags. So this week I went to Northwell, which is not part of Zwanger-Pesiri. It's a whole separate entity. And they give you a little bag too, but it's like a little plastic bag. It's branded. It's got their name on it. It's decent, but it's, nothing that you're going to collect, right? So I go in and I go to, I put all my stuff in there. I get changed. They always give you like a hospital gown to put on. Now here's where Northwell really outdoes Zwanger-Pesiri. Zwanger-Pesiri gives you a gown, hospital gown, and it's your usual blue kind of, they're linen. They're not like paper, so they're nicer than that. But, the little tie, whatever it is. Northwell, and I don't know if it was because it was the Women's Imaging Center or it was because it's high on the breast cancer. I don't really know what it was, but they gave me to put on the softest, plushest robe. It wasn't thick. It wasn't like thick, whatever. It was nice, thin, almost like I want to call it like microfiber kind of thing. Pink, had little pink satin trim, and I put this on, and I am not a robe person, but I was like, I want this robe. I will wear this robe every day, all day at home. So I was very pleased with the robe. I was like, oh, this is so nice. This is so nice. So I go through the process. I wait for them to take me into the other room. And while I was waiting in this little kind of area, they had a little display. And again, I took some pictures. I'm really going to try to get them into the comments or somehow into the video. This little display of breast cancer kind of, I guess they were things that were done for fundraisers. And I vaguely remember years ago there, and I feel like it's ongoing, but like there was a thing where people would decorate bras, and the bras were sold to raise money for breast cancer awareness. And they had in this facility a little kind of, it's a little scene, a little diorama, a little display of a couple of these bras, and like some other sort of, like there was one mannequin that had a little tutu on and a fancy bra, and it was all about breast cancer and breast cancer positivity and getting through it. And it was just so lovely. It was a really just nice experience. So I go in to the sonogram tech, because they implant the Magseed through image guidance with a sonogram, so that the tech is in there. She's getting me set up. She's preparing me for everything. And at one point I said to her, I'm like, so just a quick question. Do we get to keep the robes? And she's like, well, technically no. But so I don't want to like sell her out or anything. Susan, thank you. So nice. And then I kind of, in my head, I'm like, I'm plotting how I can keep this robe. Anyway, we go through the scan. She does the sonogram. The doctor comes in, and she walks in, and I'm lying flat on my back, and the sonogram tech is to my right. The doctor comes in to my left, and I look over at her, and she looks down at me. And honestly, she was one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life. She had the best eyebrows, the most beautiful, warm eyes. I was just like, I like mesmerized. I'm like, I'm like, oh my God, you are so beautiful. And she's like, oh, okay, thank you. It's just so sweet. Did the procedure. They numbed me up with a little lidocaine, and then just went right in a very, very minor procedure. I didn't feel anything at all. They just put a Band-Aid over it. And I was on my way shortly thereafter. But it was such a fun day. Thankfully, it didn't take long. I was able to go and only be away from work for a few hours, and then I went back to work. So that was a nice day. And I hope I didn't forget anything, because I really wanted to share about the robe, and I wanted to share about the display. And I'm going to try, like I said, I'm going to try to get a picture of the interior, like the actual sonogram, the mammogram that they did afterwards of the interior tissue where the little clip and the now little thing is. And the way that the doctor she and the sonogram tech were talking about the actual Magseed itself, where this is the Magseed Pro, where it used to be just this little, grain of rice sized piece of metal, basically. But now it goes in, and apparently it goes in, and once it's in there, it opens. So she says like an umbrella, and it makes it easier for the doctor to locate it, because I guess it creates more surface area. It makes an easier spot for the doctor to locate it. So that, again, very simple procedure, local numbing, in and out. I mean, I think, I'm not even sure how long maybe I was in the whole facility for 45 minutes. I'm not sure. So that was Wednesday. And then Thursday, I went for my pre-surgical. And this was a bit longer. This was about a half hour from home at the actual hospital that I'll be having the procedure in. I got there about 9:30. 9:30. Checked in. It was very nice. They had a whole bunch of people, the whole office dedicated to the pre-surgical screening area. And so I went in, and then they had a bank of clerks, I guess you'd call them, that, one of the women took me over and just went over some paperwork. And one of the interesting, they ask you a bunch of questions, date of birth, social security number, all this other stuff. And one of the questions that she asked that I thought was pretty interesting was, what's your mother's and father's first names? I don't think I've ever been asked that before in a formal situation. But fine, that's okay. I went, did that. I waited for a little while, and I think they finally brought me in. I want to say it was after 10:30. It was around 10:30 or so. Again, very simple. They did a quick EKG, drew some blood pressure, and asked me some really a lot of detail about my medical status, about specifically my the medications that I'm on, and the doses. And then she gave me, tell me certain medications to stop like a day or two before, and gave me a whole sheet of stuff that I need to, that I'm able to take up to the day of, or that I should stop, shortly before. Now, something I haven't talked about before, I am also on tirzepatide, which is basically it's the generic version of like Zepbound or Mounjaro, and I'm doing it for weight loss because I needed to get down to a certain point, because I couldn't even physically exercise. I had layer upon layer. I had a car accident last year, so I have problems with my back. So the weight was also impeding me doing other exercise to help me deal with the back issues. Anyway, so one thing on top of the other. So now I have this that's going on with the tirzepatide. She was very clear. I had just taken my dose on Tuesday. She said that's the last dose that you can take before the surgery. So now I have to skip a week. And then even after that, I have to double check with my surgeon to make sure the following week that I'm able to go back on it. Other stuff is, omeprazole, which is fine, iron, which is fine, vitamin D, which is fine. I have to look at the iron because it's not just pure iron. It's it's part of like a supplement, but it's mainly for iron, but it has other things in it. So I have to check that to make sure that everything in that pill is okay. Like there's specific vitamins I shouldn't take, which I think vitamin E was one of them, because they're blood thinners, and we don't want to have blood thinning when I'm going in for a procedure, especially in the breast where there are so many little arteries and capillaries and everything that need to be connected, reconnected, connected, that are going to be opened up, that are going to be vulnerable. So what else was there? So they took my weight. I don't know. I was there for a decent amount of time, and then I finished with that, and that was Thursday. But I just wanted to share the update on that, and I'm already at 12 minutes, so I'm not going to sing anything today. I will hopefully do another update within a couple of days, because now as I get closer to the procedure, there's going to be more to talk about, more going on. But that's where we're at for right now. And like I said, I'm going to try to get those photos into the comments if I can. Hopefully that works. I didn't even try it. Probably should have tried it before I logged on, right? Yeah. All right. So that's it for this week. Thanks again for listening and watching and following. I really appreciate it.